Muted. Hello, and welcome to Monsters Day 2. Yay! All right, so hopefully you've spent some time thinking about the monsters in your life, those things that you are allowing to be in your life and to influence you and to cause you to behave in certain ways because they're familiar, because the unknown of doing it a different way is just too darn scary. I want you to think about one particular monster right now. And we're going to go through the acronym of monsters. We're going to start with the letter M. M is all about the mask. So you wear a mask to hide yourself from this monster, right? To hide yourself from the alternative. Monster, we create a mask to survive, to be accepted, to avoid conflict or rejection. So why are you wearing this mask? What does your mask look like? So let's say, for example, this monster is a coworker, who is just so toxic, but you need the job. It's not time for you to move on. It's a great job. You love your job. You just have a monster coworker that you have to handle. And so you put on your little mask and your little happy face and pretend like everything's okay, even though they just terrorize you. But you hide behind your mask. It keeps you safe and protected. They can't see what's really going on. You've got a mask there to protect you. Now think about the reality of what that mask does for you. You know, we went through uh, COVID. I don't know when that happened. We went through COVID, right? We all had to wear masks, and no one could see you couldn't see anybody's mouth, right? And one of the effects that came out of that is the children that were in kindergarten and those younger grades, where they're really learning brand new things about verbal communication and speaking and uh, all those kinds of things. They have been severely um, what is the word? Basically, they're not doing as well as they could be doing compared to other years. The kids that were in had teachers who and students around them who were wearing masks so they couldn't see their mouth. They are held back. They are behind because of that. So, how is your mask holding you back? How is the mask you put up for this monster holding you back? All right, let's move on to O. O is obstacles. These are the walls you build up to keep you safe, right? They keep you safe from the monster. Let's imagine that our monster is, what would it be? Just the way that, so let's say the kids gave us a nickname when we were in elementary school and they called us, I don't know, Klutzy Carolyn, right? And so I have this belief that I am klutzy and it doesn't matter what I'm going to do, I am a klutz. And so I live my life that way. So I put up these obstacles to keep me safe. So if I think that, oh, I'd love to take up pickleball, well, I'm going to choose not to do that. I'm going to keep myself safe and say, oh, you know, Klutzy Carolyn, she can't play pickleball. And so I'm going to build up things. Oh, I have a hurt knee, or I have a hurt wrist, or what's another wall I could put up to protect myself, to create this obstacle so that I don't have to face this reality that I think I'm klutzy. What would be another one for obstacles? What obstacles am I providing? I am creating myself obstacles that keep me from having to deal with the reality of whatever my monster is. Yeah, kind of cool, huh? So we wear a mask. We create obstacles to keep us safe. How about N? Monster. N is narrative. This is the story you tell yourself. And if you've worked with me at all, if you know anything about energy work, you know that we all create these narratives in our mind, right? these stories that we tell ourselves based on our experiences. It's a lot like when two people see the car accident and they describe it completely differently because they're seeing it from their own perspective based on their own experiences in life. And so this is the narrative you tell yourself based on your experience with your monster. So my monster is, let's say it's a parent who always puts me down. So I tell myself, I create this narrative that I have to do everything I can to please my parent. I know they're going to put me down, but I can't just give in because I've got to give them fuel to put me down because that's how we have a relationship. Okay, does that sound twisted and wrong? Uh-huh. But it's the narrative you tell yourself. It's the story you've created in your mind as to how you must behave in order to keep this relationship with your parent. The only way I can have a relationship with my parent is if I let them put me down. So I've got to do things so that they can put me down. What narrative are you telling yourself about your monsters or your monster that we're talking about today? What is your narrative? What's your story? Let's see. I'm not good enough. People always leave. I can't handle this. These are the narratives that shape how you see yourself and the world. But this is the monster helping you create this narrative that isn't true. And so facing this monster is huge. You really want to face this monster and get rid of this narrative, get rid of these stories you tell yourself that are creating patterns and processes and programs that keep you stuck in that space of not living it at your best. S, shadow. Okay. The monster has you exiled, hiding in the shadows. You are not yourself. You are a shadow of yourself. You're afraid to be yourself because of this monster. You're afraid to take a step into what you believe is the right direction because this monster is holding you back. It might be because you're hiding. It might be because you built up this safe zone. It might be because of the stories you tell, but whatever it is, you're hiding in the shadows. This monster is keeping you hiding in the shadows. You're not out there living your best life, living the life of joy, living up to your potential that you know you have. And that just really weighs heavy on you. So we don't want to hide in those shadows. How about T? Trigger. The monster wakes up things inside of you and pokes those deepest wounds. Yes. He might even be the one that created those. What triggers you to be afraid of this monster, to have this monster in your life? I love monsters. My kids have this story about how I met my monster. I think that's it, how I met my monster. And there's monsters under the bed. And they have it's almost like monster training or something. So they have the different monsters and they're supposed to scare the kid and keep him in bed. And they each have their idea of how they're going to do it. And there's the main monster that, like the teacher monster, says, "Okay, monster number one, how are you going to do it?" And then and they have this back and forth with the kid. Well, eventually, this little boy gets his monster, and his monster likes to nibble on toes, and so that keeps him in bed. But he feels eerily safe with this monster under his bed. And he keeps the covers up. The funny part is my son to this day likes to have his toes covered up when he's going to sleep, and I'm pretty sure it's because of that book. But so the monster is there to keep you scared, yet it gives you an eerie safe feeling. We've talked about this a little bit, but yesterday when we talked about how even though the monster is scary and I don't want to be around the monster, I choose to stay in that space, stay in those beliefs, stay hidden, keep that mask on, keep those walls up, keep that monster there because I understand it. I know what's going to happen. I've been there, done that. I know what to expect. I've handled it before. I can handle it again. If I choose to address this monster and not allow him to trigger me anymore, then who knows what's going to happen? The world could implode because I haven't been there, haven't done that. I wouldn't know how to handle it. So I'd rather stay safe in this awful place than venture out and maybe have it be more scary. The reality is that's your mind going to work against you, because more than likely, when you take that step away from your monster and no longer let that monster have that power over you, it's like 99% sure it's going to be a better place, but it's unknown. So the natural man inside of you says, whoa, take a step back. We're not doing that. No way, no how. Okay, we're on E, exposure. How do I want to explain this one? When we shine the light on the monster, when we bring it out of the dark and expose it for what it really is, we have to face it. We're no longer hiding from it. We're no longer shielding ourselves from it. We're not hiding in the shadows. We haven't created this safe obstacle around us. We're breaking those ties so it can't trigger how we feel. We're saying, oh, I might be willing to have a different story. The idea of exposing the monster takes away its power, it neutralizes it. But we are afraid to do that. We are afraid of what exposing that monster might do. What else might it bring out inside of us? Maybe there's another monster there lurking that we don't know about. So exposure, the idea of exposing ourselves, exposing the monster inside of us, or that we believe is around us, or whatever this monster is. The idea of exposing the monster is horrifying, because what will come out? Yeah. Okay. And our reflection, the monster is a reflection of what needs healing inside you. The monster is a reflection of what needs healing inside you. Uh-huh. So they say, and I agree, the things that annoy us the most in other people, or that we maybe complain about the most in other people, are likely a weakness that we have that probably needs healing inside us. And I agree with that. I see that over and over in myself, in other people. I like when I see someone else just attacking someone about something, I'm like, oh, have you ever considered that you have that same thing going on? Because I can see that in you. And then I see myself complaining about something. I'm like, oh, I better work on that in myself, because it's a great reflection of what's going on inside me. So this monster, so this toxic thing going on in our lives, whether it's an experience we had in a child that's created this narrative that we're not good enough, if it's someone that we live with who's constantly putting us down or treating us poorly, if it's whatever it is that you're dealing with, it's a reflection of something that needs healing inside of you. If you've ever done the processing pause with me, you know that when you trigger an emotion, you thank it for showing up, because it helps you to recognize there's something there that you're believing that isn't true, that it's time to make a change, that you need to replace that with truth, because there's something that's erroneous going on there. And it's very same here. This monster is a reflection of something that needs healing inside of you, or that is a part of you that needs healing. And so how grateful we are that these monsters show up in our lives, right? How thankful I am for the monster. There's so much I can learn from this. Yeah. But coming up with that courage is frightening. And so I encourage you to sit down and go through these steps, go through the monster steps. So the mask, I'm hiding. Why am I hiding? How am I hiding? Obstacles. I've created this safe place around me. I've built my fortress so that they can't get to me and hurt me like it has? Narrative, what stories am I telling myself that are probably not true? Just to keep this monster alive, right? Or to survive around this monster. Shadows, shadows. How am I hiding? What's hiding? Am I keeping myself hidden? What could I be if I were to get rid of this monster? Trigger. How does this monster trigger me? Haha. Yeah, I love that one. How does this monster trigger me? Like, what happens when I get triggered by this monster? Exposure. Why am I afraid to expose this? What's holding me back? Why do I have this fear of exposing the monster? Reflection. What am I seeing in the mirror? Okay, if this monster is toxic in this way, what do I have over here that needs healing that will neutralize that and bring peace into my world? Monster. Sit down, discover your monster, and go through this list and discover what it is, all these different things that have you stuck with this monster. And then come up with a plan step by step on how you can start to neutralize the influence this monster has on your life. Maybe you need to scribble. Maybe there's a specific energy alignment topic that I have recorded that you could use to help you. Maybe you need to journal. Maybe you just need to stand up and face it. Maybe you need to learn a new skill in order to be more diplomatic and handle confrontations. Whatever it is, create that list. If you want to take it to the very next level, I invite you to join me for my group session. It's going to be all about getting the courage to face the monster. I'm so excited for this session. If you're watching this live, we're going to be doing it next week, which will be I think like the second or third week in May. And if not, if you're watching this later as recorded, it will be available in my group sessions, available on our classroom website. So tackle those monsters. Don't be afraid. Don't be hiding in the shadows. Let the monster go. Neutralize the power this monster has over you. You have the power within you to neutralize these monsters as they pop up. And if you want to have the courage, if you just feel like you just need the courage to tackle this monster, join me for our group session coming up soon. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm always here for you. And let's go out and slay those monsters.